Hello everybody and welcome back to RoboMania 2 featuring Gale Force versus I am your host Game and Soy, and we have some great looking fights ahead of us today. There will be a total of 5 different fights, including the amazing main event between Gale Force and which will feature a very high prospect by the name of It won't be an easy matchup, however, as it will be going up against the big hitting Gale Force. Before that fight, we will be seeing a tale of 2 spinners going at it as the powerful Berserker takes on the very durable Triad. An amazing matchup will go off as the big disc STEELO will go up against a somewhat controversial robot by the name of Springer. Springer will only have one fight in the history of RoboMania, and now is its time to see how it'll go. Before that, we will see 2 wild robots come together as the speedy REDACTED will take on Cyclops, who will be making its official RoboMania return from the original series of RoboMania. And to start everything out, we will watch the undercutter Siva take on the controlling Sunrise. This matchup will definitely come down to who has the lower wedges in my opinion. But before we get into our first fight, let's take a look at the new rankings that were updated after the last fight card. As you can see, a lot of ranking positions have changed over the course of only a few weeks. The main difference that I am seeing though is that Gale and Serpiente have made a huge jump after only one fight each. This could possibly mean that if they win one more fight, they might be on the brink of facing the champion next. Of course, every 5 fight cards, there will be a championship fight between one of the top 5 seeds and the champion. Most of the original Battle of the Rookie robots still have a decent position, but every single robot has their eyes on one thing, and it's the champion, Werewolf. Enough of this talk though, let's jump into the first fight of the night. 2 low-riding robots will collide together as Sunrise will take on Siva in a heated matchup. Lots of words have been spread between the 2 builders, and now it is time to step up and show who will come out on top. And we are live for our first fight of RoboMania 2. We have Siva going up against the grappler / hitter, Sunrise. This fight has had a lot of bad blood in between the 2 builders. Fighting out of the red square, we have Sunrise, a robot who has been making a huge impression on the Discord. This robot has an amazing wedge, and it looks like it's almost impossible to get underneath. It will be going up against Siva. Siva is a really good robot who has a good undercutter weapon with amazing wedgelets on the side to scoop up almost any other robot. This fight is going to be fun to watch. 3, 2, 1, let the matchup begin between Sunrise and Siva. And immediately Sunrise gets underneath Siva, which is not good to see if you are Siva. Immediately a wheel has come off of Sunrise, and that is not a good sign, and another wheel, but this time by Siva, and Siva's launched into the air, losing one of its wedgelets. And wow, a crazy first little hit by both robots, and now just multiple parts are flying off of both robots. Siva is looking to be getting the better of the driving, however, but you also gotta think Siva has that spinning weapon, and no matter what happens, it'll most likely hit, unless it's flipped on its back like that. The weapon will not be able to be used properly. It cannot make contact to Sunrise if that weapon is not touching it. And now the weapon has come off, and Sunrise is making a huge statement right now. Slammed against the wall. It wasn't really a slam, but more of a push. And once more, why not? Just slam it against the wall. We're taking it for multiple rides. Under 2 minutes left in this fight, and it seems like Sunrise has a pretty decent spot in this fight. It almost seems like it's Sunrise's fight to lose as Siva gets punted around a couple times, and one more, a huge hit, another one. They're both landing huge hits on each other, but Sunrise is making those hits last. As you can see, the chassis has completely fallen off. The weapon is completely dismantled. And Sunrise is just still hitting and hitting and hitting. Doing a really good job driving as well. Sunrise is very controlling when it comes to fighting. It's hard to get underneath that wedge, especially since it's just one giant wedge. It's hard to attack when going head to head with this robot. And it seems like Siva's having a hard time to just maintain itself at this point. It seems like it's fighting off of its heels, and it can't really do anything at the moment. We have about 30 seconds left in this fight, and if this were to go to a judge's decision, I would have to say Sunrise currently, but who knows? Anything can happen in 20 seconds. But it seems like both robots are kind of just content with where they are right now. I mean, obviously Sunrise is, but Siva needs to get off of this spot. 10 seconds left in this fight, and unless there's an elimination, this will go to the judges' scorecards, and it will go to the judges' scorecards. A very interesting fight. It started out really good, and then it kind of got a little lopsided towards the end of the fight. As you can see, a couple wheels are flying off of both robots. A huge hit by Sunrise sends Siva in the air against the wall. Honestly, a pretty good performance by Siva, but Sunrise is just such a good robot. It is hard to fight when your wedge is that low. A huge hit, almost knocked out of the arena actually, and I believe this is where the weapon came off. There it is. Fell off, and then from there, it was just Sunrise's fight to lose, but it did not do it. It won the fight. A huge hit knocks off the top of the chassis, and that was pretty much the end of that fight. Sunrise looked pretty good. While we wait for the judges to submit their judge scoring cards, let's go over the statistics of this fight. Honestly, the only real competitive minute in this fight was minute number 1. Siva outstruck Sunrise when it came to significant strikes in minute number 1. However, if you look down at the amount of pins, Sunrise had a clear win in my opinion on that one. Minute number 2 was a really dominant minute when it came to Sunrise. Siva did absolutely nothing in minute number 2 as it was just getting flipped over and pinned that entire minute. And then minute number 3 came, and let's be honest, that is a really boring minute. Only one pin by all the robots for that entire minute. That was the only thing that was counted that entire minute. But in my honest opinion, I think this one will go in favor of Sunrise, but who knows what the judges are thinking. And based off of that, I also hear that the judges' decision is in, so let's see who won this fight. Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 minutes, we go to the judges' scorecards for their decision. All 3 judges score this contest 30-26 by the winner by unanimous decision, Sunrise. And just like that, Sunrise has won its first fight in RoboMania against Siva by unanimous decision. A very interesting fight in my opinion. I'm not a big fan of how it ended, but what can I say? I'm just a commentator. With that being said, Sunrise has won and now is going to be moving up in the ranking system, and I am curious if it's going to break into the top 15 based off of that performance. There has been a lot of hype around this robot, and I'm very curious to see where it'll end up. Madness pursues as 2 big hitting robots will come together as Redacted takes on Cyclops. Making its official RoboMania return, there is a lot of hype around Cyclops, while Redacted was the first robot entry into the league. And for the second fight of the night, we have a great matchup between Redacted going up against Cyclops. Both robots are very hard-hitting robots, and honestly, the fight odds, they're very close on paper. Fighting out of the red square, we have Cyclops, who will be making its official RoboMania return, and technically its debut. This robot is a heavy hitting robot with that giant blade. It will be going up against REDACTED, a robot that is very similar to Warhead. This robot is very powerful. There's no way to explain it. It hits very hard, and I am really looking forward to this match. 3, 2, 1. Let the matchup begin between REDACTED and Cyclops. Cyclops immediately gets a good hit from behind, and REDACTED's trying to get past those giant wedges, almost guards, and Cyclops was actually pinned on its head for a second, and REDACTED gets a really good cheeky hit. And now both robots kind of bouncing around, spinning in circles. REDACTED can't get a good center. It's very unbalanced when it comes to its weapon spinning. A huge hit by both robots sends them both flying, and REDACTED pinned up against the wall and out of the arena. Just like that, this fight is over. Technically it's not in game, but there's no way REDACTED, there it is. There is no way REDACTED could get out of that spot, and Cyclops wins by elimination. A very strong performance from a robot that's making its return to RoboMania. As you can see, the story of this fight was those wedges, those anti-horizontal spinning wedges, and there was a good hit by REDACTED, but this was the shot that sent REDACTED out of the arena. And with that quick elimination, Cyclops making a great statement on its debut and return to RoboMania. Honestly, commiserations to REDACTED. It put on a pretty decent performance, but it just got unlucky when it got hit out of the arena so quickly. Of course, Cyclops will now be fighting tougher competition in the future, and I'm very curious to see who it's going to be matched up against, because that just was such a dominant and clean performance by Cyclops. Two heavy hitters face off as STEELO takes on Springer in a fight that excites. Springer, making its one-time appearance against STEELO, surely will end in fireworks. And for our next fight of the night, we have a great matchup between two hard-hitting robots of STEELO versus Springer. Both robots honestly can knock out the opposing robot out of the arena at any moment. Fighting out of the red square, we have Springer. The bot builder of this robot said that this robot is a little cheaty. Hence, they are only entering this robot in for one fight. And I'm curious to see how cheaty this robot is. It will be going up against STEELO, who will be fighting out of the blue square. STEELO is a very aggressive and scary robot, to be honest. This robot causes a lot of damage, and I'm excited. 3, 2, 1. Let the matchup begin between Springer and STEELO. A huge hit by STEELO almost immediately sends STEELO back up against the wall, and now flipped on its back. This robot needs to aim for the wheels. That's STEELO's path to winning. Slammed against the wall, almost out of the arena. And Springer trying its best just to knock STEELO out of the arena. And then pinned up against his back. STEELO knocking off a wheel. And now hitting the front wedge of Springer almost out of the arena. And fireworks. Fireworks. That's all I have to say about this fight so far. Both robots hit against the wall. A cool double hit by Springer right there. Bounces STEELO against the wall and then back again. It hits it twice. And now STEELO's trying its best. There goes another wheel actually. And out of the arena. Oh my gosh, that is a home run hit if I've ever seen one right there. Oh my goodness. Springer literally sent STEELO flying in the air. It was honestly a back and forth fight until that one hit, and just a great performance. There's Springer doing some good shots, sending STEELO against the wall, back and back and back and forth again. This is the time when Springer gets put on his back, loses a wheel, which is very significant, almost out of the arena by STEELO, shot against the wall. And here's the cool double hit, bounces off the wall, and then one more hit, almost out of the arena. And then I believe this is the shot, home run, goodbye, have a good time, STEELO. Let's be honest, Springer had such a great performance, you almost hate to say goodbye to it because that was it for Springer. Springer is now retired from RoboMania. So we can't really say what's gonna happen in the future for Springer because honestly, that was a top 10 performance in my opinion by Springer. But we have to look at STEELO now. STEELO lost that fight, but it looked really good when it lost. It knocked off multiple wheels and it was just a fun fight in general. That might be my personal favorite fight so far in RoboMania history, but that's just me. I honestly don't see STEELO dropping that far in the ranking system just because that was such a back and forth fight and a very entertaining fight. A tale of two tapes come together as Berserker will take on Triad. The official Robot Rumble 2 Discord will be represented as a developer of the game takes on a moderator. Berserker is a very hard-hitting robot but will be tested as it faces a very durable Triad. And for our co-main event of the evening, we have a horizontal spinner going up against a vertical spinner. This is Berserker versus Triad, both robots, very good robots. Fighting out of the red square, we have Triad, a robot that was designed by a developer of Robot Rumble 2. It has amazing armor, and I don't think it is possible to knock out this robot. It will be going up against Berserker, a robot who is exactly the opposite. This robot will knock out opposing robots, and that's what it's designed to do. I expect this robot to come out strong, and this is going to be a fun fight. 3, 2, 1. Let the co-main event begin between Berserker and Triad. Immediately, Triad's on the aggressive, but then gets pinned up against the wall by Berserker. And I am curious to see how this fight's gonna end out because both robots are two opposites. One dishes a lot of damage, while the other one can take a lot of damage. And instantly, Triad gets underneath Berserker and is gonna throw it against the wall. And now the Shreemic comes off of Triad. That is not good. Where did Berserker go? There. Whoa, Berserker comes down with an aerial attack, gets stuck up on top of the arena, and then comes back down, dishes out some damage. I don't know if that's within the rule set, but we're gonna allow it. I'm getting word that that was allowed. What an amazing shot by Triad, or I don't even know if that was a shot by Triad. That seemed like it was more of a hit on the wedge of Berserker that made it fly up. And so, as I say this all, Triad is getting pieced apart right now. Parts of its armor is falling off, but it still has that front wedge, which is where everything is based on. That wedge is very durable. Both robots kind of bouncing around. They slowed down significantly. As you can see, Triad lost a wheel, so it's not as fast as it once was, and I think Berserker has taken some damage on that weapon, so it's not as balanced as it once was anymore. And we are about halfway done in this fight, and we've already had a wild shot that sent Berserker in the air. There goes another wheel of Triad, and it has 2 wheels left. That actually might help it. It doesn't seem like it is, but it only has 2 wheels left, and Berserker is very unbalanced right now. This might be a pushing match for this final minute of the fight. It's going to be hard to tell. Both robots are very significantly slowed down. I don't think this is a battery issue on either end. It almost seems like Berserker just can't drive straight, and Triad just lost its wheels. There goes the weapon of Triad, and that somehow made it go a lot faster. I don't know if the weapon was also unbalanced for Triad, but it seems like it picked up some speed once it lost that weapon. Could have just been a weight thing. Who knows? 20 seconds left in this fight, and it looks like we are going to go to a judge's decision unless something crazy happens, but I don't see it really happening right now. 10 seconds left, and we are in a pretty boring pushing match. There goes another wheel, and then there goes the wedge of Triad. That was the stamp at the end of the fight. Wow, okay. That was what Berserker needed, to be honest, in order to finish that fight. It was close on paper for that decision. There goes Berserker in the air. Where is it? It's playing hide and seek. Aerial attack. There's Berserker. Comes down and gets a cheeky hit off Triad. There comes off some of the armor of Triad. That's not good. I said it was very durable. It survived a full 3 minutes against a very hard-hitting robot. And I'm honestly impressed by both robots to an extent. I mean, it was a boring fight, but it was honestly, both robots took a lot of damage. There goes the weapon of Triad. And this was the final hit where the wedge just falls off of Triad, and that's how the fight pretty much just ended. While we wait for the judges to figure out who won this fight, let's take a look at the statistics of this fight. Honestly, as I see it on paper, this is a very clear decision, but let's go over the minutes minute by minute. In minute number 1, we have Berserker, in my opinion, winning. This is the closest minute that we had the entire fight, pretty much because Triad had 2 pins in that first minute. Moving on to minute number 2 and 3, I think it's just a clear victory for Berserker. I think this should be a unanimous decision for Berserker, but there's only one way to find out. I am getting note that the judge's decision is in, so let's figure out who won this fight. Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 minutes, we go to the judges' scorecards for their decision. All 3 judges scored this contest 30-27 for the winner by unanimous decision, Berserker. And with a unanimous decision win, Berserker will move on in the ranking system. And I am very curious to see who it's going to be fighting in the future, because it wasn't a beautiful performance, but it did show that it does have power. It knocked off a lot of armor off of a very durable robot by the name of Triad. Triad, in my opinion, is going to have to try to figure out what type of wedge it needs to work out, because the armor is there, the weapon is there, but it just didn't seem to be able to get underneath Berserker that much. Especially with the wheels being knocked off, it just seemed like this robot needs a little bit of work. But I'm curious to see who Triad is going to be fighting next time it fights. If you guys are enjoying this video and all of RoboMania, please consider liking this video. I have put in a ton of time trying to make sure that you guys are entertained, and it would very much be appreciated if you guys leave down a comment or just rate the video. Also, if you are enjoying videos like this and want to see more things similar to it, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. It costs absolutely nothing, and it would mean the world to me. For the main event of the evening, we will be watching 2 prospects of the sport collide together. Is a robot that has been highly respected throughout many tournaments, and it'll try its best to come out as the victor with its amazing power. On the other hand, Gale Force will try to be looking to derail a hype train with its great driving and powerful weapon. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening, featuring Gale Force versus Both robots are very powerful and both know how to drive very well. This fight is going to be fun. Fighting out of the red square, we have a robot that is huge. This might be the biggest robot in the league so far, and it is very powerful. This robot knows how to dish out a ton of damage, and I'm excited. It will be going up against Gale Force, a robot that is pretty durable, and it drives very well. Don't forget about the weapon also. This robot has a lot of potential in this league, and I am excited for this fight. Both robots are lined up and ready to fight for tonight's main event. We have 2 prospects, that look to make a break in the top 15. Gale Force, the very sturdy and durable robot, will take on, the very power-heavy robot. Who will win? There's only one way to find out. 3, 2, 1. Let the main event begin between Gale Force and whom goes flying. I'm gonna have a hard time saying every time something happens. Gale Force is underneath at the moment, and it seems like some damage has been done to Gale Force. In the process, a huge hit sends Gale Force flying across the entire arena, and parts are now coming off of Gale Force. Looks like it's in control so far, now being balanced off. We have to pay attention to one thing about this robot can fly out of the arena at almost any time, and it almost did it right there. Gale Force is now trying to just get that one hit, just to send it out of the arena to claim a victory. It's trying its best, got hit on the side, and a wheel. I think a wheel has come off of Gale Force, which has significantly slowed it down. And a huge hit! A huge hit by Both robots are flipped upside down on their asses. And there's a count out, but stops it. Both robots are now just sitting there. And Gale Force is trying to self-right, and there goes the weapon. Gale Force is lost. It's spinning around on its back right now, trying to figure out what just happened. We have half of the minute of the fight left, and I don't know. Gale Force is trying its best. It's now back up on its wheels, but all those wheels are just shredded apart, and now smoke and sparks are coming out of Gale Force. And I think that might do it. There is a countdown right now. And it's almost out. But it stopped. And is just going to sit down and wait for the countdown to begin again. And I think that is going to be the knockout hit that landed on Gale Force. And that is it. A very interesting main event. It did not go as fast as I thought it would. That was actually a back and forth fight for a little bit. Almost out of the arena immediately. Not quite. And there's some big hits by right there. And just back and forth damage. That was just a very fun fight to watch. This was a shot that sent Gale Force back against the wall. And this is a huge hit right here. Gets hit up and then hits Gale Force on the way down. And that's what knocked Gale Force over. And there goes the weapon of Gale Force. Wow. Here's the final hit by which essentially knocked out Gale Force, and that was the fight. And with that performance, is the winner and defeated Gale Force by TKO. An amazing performance by and I will still, to this day, from when it fights every time in the future, I will always be worried that when it hits a robot, it'll fling itself out of the arena at the same time. Commiserations to Gale Force though. I don't see it dropping much in the rankings, mainly because it put up a decent performance against a very talented robot. There's not much I can say about other than I'll see it in the top 15 because that was a great performance, and I am excited to see who it's going to be matched up against in the near future. And now that this fight card is completely over, without further ado, this is the RoboMania 3 fight card preview. As you can see, the main event will be between Serpiente, who is ranked 7, going up against Garda, who is number 11. Both of these robots have already fought in the first RoboMania fight card, and now it is time to see who deserves to be in the top 5 when they both collide together. Starting out the main card, we have LAOG. I don't know how to pronounce it, that's how I'm gonna pronounce it though. This robot is absolutely crazy. There's no words to explain how this robot will fight, and I am excited just so you guys can see when this next fight card comes out. It's just a wild robot. It will be going up against Warrior, a robot that is very clean. I love the colors on the robot, and it's a very deadly robot. Our next fight in our main card is between Civic and Splatoon, two very well designed robots who are both vertical spinners. So that is a fight that I am really excited to see. In our next fight, we have the return of Pack-a-Punch, who is coming off a loss against Werewolf, and it will be going up against Bangle, a robot who defeated Dual Extreme in RoboMania 1. This fight is going to be fun. As our co-main event, we have Nuts and Bolts going up against Killa Bee, both robots coming off a loss in the Battle of the Rookies tournament, and I am very excited to see who will come up on top when it comes to two horizontal spinners. And then of course the main event, Serpiente versus Garda. I have been very excited to see how both robots will do, and I'm just excited altogether for this fight card. I hope you guys have enjoyed this fight card featuring Gale Force versus It's been a wild 12 fights, and I am excited to see who will all be featured in the next ranking system, and I can't wait for the next fight card. As always, it's been a pleasure to have you guys here, and I am looking forward to see what the future holds. My name is Game & Soy, and I will see you all next time on RoboMania.